The morning sun cast golden light across the wheat fields of New Haven Colony. Jake Morrison stood on his office balcony, watching the farmers begin their daily work. As governor of this small world, he felt proud of what 50,000 humans had built in just 3 years. The terraforming machines hummed quietly in the distance, slowly changing the atmosphere to make it more like Earth. Jake sipped his coffee and smiled. The crops were growing well, the children were healthy, and the colonists were happy. New Haven was everything they had hoped for when they left Earth's overcrowded cities behind. That peaceful morning changed forever when the sky began to shimmer. Lisa Barnes was reviewing supply reports in the administrative building when her assistant burst through the door. "Ma'am, you need to see this right away," the young man said, his face pale with excitement. Lisa followed him to the observation deck. Above them, the blue sky rippled like water. Slowly, elegant silver ships appeared, floating silently in the atmosphere. The vessels were beautiful, curved like shells and gleaming in the sunlight. They moved with grace that human technology could never match. "How many?" Lisa asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. 12 large ships, maybe more coming," her assistant replied. "They just appeared from nowhere." Jake Morrison arrived minutes later, along with Security Chief Ryan Clark and Dr. Amy Rodriguez, the colony's chief scientist. The 4 leaders watched as the alien ships arranged themselves in a perfect formation above their main city. "No hostile moves," Ryan observed, his hand resting on his weapon. "But they've got us completely surrounded." Dr. Rodriguez pointed her scanner at the ships. "I'm reading energy signatures unlike anything in our databases. Their technology is far beyond ours." A soft chime echoed across the colony as every communication device activated at once. The voice that spoke was melodious and calm, with words that somehow translated perfectly into English. "Greetings, children of Earth. We are the Zephyrian Collective. We come in peace and friendship." One of the ships descended slowly, landing in the colony's central plaza. A doorway opened with a whisper of escaping air. 3 tall figures emerged, their movements fluid and graceful. The aliens were beautiful in an otherworldly way. They stood, nearly 8 feet tall, with pale blue skin that seemed to glow softly. Their faces were angular and elegant, with large eyes that sparkled like crystals. They wore flowing robes that changed color as they moved. The leader stepped forward and spoke. "I am High Mediator Velthara. We have traveled far to meet you." Lisa Barnes approached carefully, flanked by her security team. "Welcome to New Haven," she said. "I'm Colonial Administrator Barnes. We're honored by your visit." Velthara smiled, showing teeth like polished pearls. "The honor is ours. We have watched your species with great interest. Your courage in settling distant worlds is remarkable." "You've been watching us?" Ryan Clark asked, his voice sharp. From a respectful distance, Velthara replied smoothly. "We observe many young species as they spread among the stars. It is our way of learning about potential friends." Jake Morrison stepped forward. "What do you want from us?" "Nothing that you do not wish to give," the alien said. "We offer friendship, knowledge, and the chance to join a greater community. The galaxy is vast and full of wonders that we would be honored to share with humanity." Dr. Rodriguez couldn't hide her excitement. "What kind of knowledge?" Velthara gestured to one of the other aliens who approached carrying a small crystal device. "Healing technology that can cure diseases in moments. Energy systems that work in harmony with nature. Methods of growing food that will feed millions." The alien activated the crystal, and it began to glow with warm light. "This healing crystal can mend broken bones, cure infections, and even reverse some effects of aging. We offer it as a gift of friendship." Amy reached out hesitantly, then touched the crystal. Immediately, an old scar on her hand began to fade. The colonists watching gasped in amazement. "This is incredible," Amy whispered. "How does it work?" "Your scientists will learn in time," Velthara said kindly. "We believe in sharing knowledge slowly, so it can be properly understood and used wisely." Over the following days, more Zephyrian ships arrived. They brought gifts and demonstrations that amazed the colonists. Their environmental processors could make crops grow 3 times faster. Their medical technology healed injuries that human doctors couldn't treat. Their energy systems produced clean power from sunlight and wind with perfect efficiency. Bill Tucker, one of the colony's farmers, watched in wonder as Zephyrian technology transformed his failing wheat field into a garden of plenty. "I've never seen anything like it," he told his neighbors. "They're like angels from heaven." Kate Murphy, the colony's communications officer, monitored the alien transmissions with fascination. The Zephyrians communicated using complex harmonies that sounded like music. Their language was beautiful, and their technology seemed almost magical. Tony Martinez, the chief engineer, studied the alien devices with professional interest. "Their power sources are completely clean," he reported to Jake Morrison. "No radiation, no waste products, no environmental damage. If we could understand how they work, we could solve Earth's energy problems forever." But Ryan Clark remained suspicious. He watched the alien ships with the eye of a soldier, noting how they maintained perfect positions around the planet. Every time he requested permission to scan their vessels, the Zephyrians politely declined. "It's not that we don't trust you," Velthera explained when Ryan pressed the issue, "but our technology is deeply connected to our culture and spiritual beliefs. Sharing it too quickly could cause misunderstandings." Ryan didn't like the answer, but he couldn't argue with the results. The aliens had done nothing threatening. They shared their gifts freely and asked for nothing in return except friendship. The colonists began to relax around their visitors. Children played near the alien ships, and the Zephyrians seemed to enjoy watching them. Some aliens even joined in human activities, helping with farming and construction projects. Jake Morrison found himself genuinely impressed by the aliens' generosity. They offered to establish permanent trade relations, sharing technology in exchange for Earth's art, music, and cultural knowledge. They seemed genuinely interested in peaceful cooperation, Lisa Barnes told Jake during a private meeting. This could be the beginning of a new era for humanity. Jake nodded, but a small voice in his mind echoed Ryan Clark's concerns. The Zephyrians were almost too perfect, too generous, too willing to help without asking for anything significant in return. Still, as he watched alien healing crystals cure sick children and alien processors turn barren ground into fertile soil, Jake couldn't help but hope that humanity had finally found true friends among the stars. The future looked brighter than ever, and New Haven was becoming a showcase of human-alien cooperation. What could possibly go wrong with such benevolent visitors? 3 weeks had passed since the Zephyrians arrived, and New Haven Colony hummed with new energy. The aliens' gifts had transformed daily life in ways the colonists never imagined possible. Fields that once struggled to grow simple vegetables now produced abundant harvests. The medical center, equipped with Zephyrian healing crystals, had eliminated most diseases and injuries. But something was wrong. Dr. Amy Rodriguez noticed it first during her morning rounds at the medical facility. Several patients who had received alien healing treatment seemed different. They spoke more slowly, smiled constantly, and showed little interest in activities they once enjoyed. "How are you feeling, Mr. Henderson?" Amy asked one of her regular patients, a farmer who had broken his arm 2 weeks earlier. "Fine, doctor. Very peaceful," the man replied with a dreamy expression. "The Zephyrians are so wonderful. We should do whatever they suggest." Amy frowned. Before his treatment, Henderson had been a stubborn, independent man who questioned everything. Now he seemed completely passive. She made notes in her medical records and decided to investigate further. When she ran detailed blood tests on the treated patients, her scanner showed something disturbing. Tiny metallic particles floated in their bloodstreams, too small to see but clearly artificial. Meanwhile, Security Chief Ryan Clark was dealing with his own concerns. During his daily patrols, he noticed that many colonists were losing their edge. Farmers worked more slowly, security guards seemed less alert, and even children played with unusual calm. "It's like everyone's taking happy pills," Ryan told Jake Morrison during their morning briefing. "People are too relaxed, too trusting." Jake had noticed the changes too, but he attributed them to relief and gratitude. "Maybe they're just happy to have help for the first time in 3 years, he suggested. Ryan shook his head. "Governor, I've been a soldier for 20 years. I know what mind control looks like, and this feels wrong. That afternoon, Bill Tucker made a discovery that sent chills down his spine. While checking on his livestock, he found his cattle standing motionless in their pasture. The animals that had once been lively and sometimes difficult to manage now moved like sleepwalkers. They won't respond to anything, he told his wife Sarah. It's like they're not really there anymore. The cattle had been among the first test subjects for Zephyrian agricultural improvements. Now they stood in perfect rows, eating mechanically, and showing no natural behaviors. Communications Officer Kate Murphy was working late in her monitoring station when she detected something unusual. During what the Zephyrians called their meditation periods, their ships emitted strange energy pulses that her equipment could barely detect. Kate tried to analyze the signals, but every time she focused her scanners on the alien vessels, her computers crashed or gave impossible readings. The pattern was too consistent to be coincidence. She brought her findings to Tony Martinez, the colony's chief engineer. Tony was one of the few people who seemed unaffected by the general mood of peaceful acceptance that had settled over the colony. Look at this, Kate said, showing him the energy readings. Every night at the same time, all the Zephyrian ships emit synchronized pulses, and every morning more people seem different. Tony studied the data with growing alarm. These frequencies match the resonance patterns of human brain tissue, he said slowly. They're broadcasting something directly into people's minds. The breakthrough came by accident. While examining a Zephyrian healing crystal under his microscope, Tony accidentally dropped it on the floor. The crystal cracked, revealing a complex internal structure filled with microscopic machines. Kate, come look at this, Tony called urgently. Under magnification, they could see thousands of tiny devices inside the crystal, each no larger than a virus. The machines were moving, actively working to repair the crack in their container. These aren't just healing devices, Kate whispered. They're delivery systems. Tony immediately began testing other Zephyrian gifts. The environmental processors contained similar microscopic machines. So did the food enhancement systems and even the decorative plants the aliens had shared with the colonists. Every gift contained billions of nanobots designed to enter human bodies and alter brain chemistry. Amy Rodriguez confirmed their worst fears when she compared the nanobots in the crystals with the particles in her patient's blood. They were identical. The Zephyrian healing technology was slowly changing human behavior, making people passive and obedient. We have to tell Governor Morrison, Amy said, but Tony shook his head. Half the colony council has been treated with alien healing crystals, he pointed out. They won't believe us and they might warn the Zephyrians. Instead, the three conspirators decided to confront High Mediator Velthara directly. They requested a private meeting, claiming they wanted to discuss expanding the cultural exchange program. Velthara met them in the alien ship's beautiful reception chamber, surrounded by flowing curtains that seemed to move without any wind. The aliens' crystalline eyes sparkled with what they had once thought was kindness. We know what you're doing, Amy said without preamble. The nanobots in your healing crystals are changing our people. For a moment, Velthara's perfect smile faltered. Then the alien laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Clever little creatures, Velthara said, dropping the warm tone they had used for weeks. We wondered how long it would take you to discover the truth. The chamber around them shimmered and the soft lighting changed to harsh blue glare. The beautiful decorations revealed themselves as control panels and monitoring equipment. You too. See, Children of Earth, the Zephyrian collective specializes in peaceful conquest, Velthara explained, their voice now cold and clinical. We have perfected the art of subduing species without violence, much more efficient than crude warfare. Tony stepped forward angrily. You're poisoning us. Improving you, Velthara corrected. Our nanobots eliminate aggressive impulses, reduce independent thinking, and increase cooperation. Your people will be much happier as part of our empire. You can't do this, Kate protested. Velthara gestured to a wall display that showed orbital positions around New Haven. Hundreds of red dots indicated ships approaching the system. Our main fleet arrives in 4 days, the alien said calmly. 200 warships carrying the technology to complete your integration. Those not yet affected by our nanobots will be treated more directly. Amy felt her heart sinking. What do you want from us? New Haven sits above one of the richest mineral deposits we have ever discovered, Velthara explained. Your people will mine these resources for the collective. The nanobots will ensure you do so happily and efficiently. And if we refuse? Tony asked. Velthara's smile returned, cruel and cold. Refusal is impossible. Look around your colony. More than half. Your people are already under our influence. They will help us convince the others. The alien touched a control panel, and images appeared showing colonists throughout New Haven. Those who had been treated with Zephyrian technology stood in groups, their faces blank and peaceful. Your primitive weapons cannot penetrate our shields, Velthara continued. Your communication systems cannot reach beyond this solar system. You are alone, and resistance will only cause unnecessary suffering. Ryan Clark had been right all along. The Zephyrians weren't benevolent visitors. They were conquerors who used kindness as a weapon. Their gifts were chains disguised as helping hands. As the three humans were escorted back to the colony under alien guard, they faced an impossible situation. Most of their people were already compromised. Enemy ships surrounded their world and a massive invasion fleet was approaching. New Haven colony had been doomed from the moment they welcomed the aliens with open arms. The Zephyrians had turned human compassion and curiosity against them with devastating effectiveness. The only question now was whether anyone could find a way to resist before it was too late. Time was running out, and hope seemed as distant as the stars themselves. The situation in New Haven colony grew worse each day. More Zephyrian ships arrived, filling the sky with their ominous presence. The aliens no longer bothered to hide their true nature. They walked through the colony giving orders, and the affected colonists obeyed without question. Kate Murphy sat in her communications center staring at banks of dead equipment. The Zephyrians had systematically disabled every long-range transmitter, leaving the colony completely cut off from Earth and the other human settlements. All standard channels are blocked, she reported to the small group of unaffected colonists who had gathered in Tony Martinez's workshop. They're jamming everything from radio waves to quantum burst transmissions. Ryan Clark paced angrily around the small room. 60% of our people are walking zombies. We can't call for help, and we've got maybe 50 people willing to fight against impossible odds. Dr. Amy Rodriguez looked up from her medical scanner. I've been working on a treatment for the nanobots, she said. I think I can reverse their effects, but I need time and the right equipment. Time we don't have, Tony muttered. Velthara says their main fleet arrives in 2 days. Jake Morrison, who had managed to avoid exposure to the alien nanobots through careful paranoia, rubbed his tired eyes. As governor, he felt responsible for the disaster that had befallen his people. There has to be something we can do, he said. Some way to fight back or call for help. Kate suddenly sat up straight. Wait. The quantum entanglement beacon. Everyone turned to look at her. Tony frowned in confusion. What beacon? When the colony was first established, they installed an emergency communication system, Kate explained excitedly. It uses quantum entanglement to send messages instantly across any distance, but it was never activated because the regular communication systems worked fine. Ryan's eyes lit up with hope. Can you use it to contact Earth? Kate was already pulling up technical diagrams on her computer. Not Earth directly, but it's tuned to the military emergency frequencies. If there are any Terran Defense Force ships in range, they'll receive the signal. What are the chances? Jake asked. Kate studied the specifications. The beacon has a range of about 50 light-years. There might be patrol ships or research vessels in the area, but I won't know until I try to make contact. Tony examined the technical requirements. The beacon is in the old communications tower on the north side of the colony, but it needs a massive power surge to activate, and the Zephyrians are monitoring all our energy systems. I can help with that, Amy said. My medical fabricators have independent power sources. We could reroute energy from the entire medical facility. Ryan nodded grimly. I'll handle security. Most of my team is compromised, but I still have a few good people who can create a distraction. They spent the rest of the night planning their desperate gambit. Kate would need at least 30 minutes of uninterrupted time to charge the beacon and send a message. Amy would modify her medical equipment to provide the necessary power. Tony would handle the technical connections. As dawn broke over New Haven, the small group of rebels put their plan into action. Ryan's security team created a false emergency on the south side of the colony, drawing Zephyrian attention away from the communication tower. Kate, Tony, and Amy made their way carefully through the empty streets. The colony that had once buzzed with human activity now felt like a ghost town. The affected colonists moved like sleepwalkers, performing their assigned tasks with mechanical precision. At the communication tower, Tony quickly began connecting power cables from Amy's portable medical units to the quantum beacon. The device was massive, built to punch signals through the fabric of space itself. Power levels climbing, Amy reported, watching her instruments. But this is going to drain every energy cell in the medical facility. Kate worked frantically at the communication console, encoding their distress signal with military encryption, codes she remembered from her training. The message contained everything they knew about the Zephyrian invasion, their location, and the alien technology. 50% power, Tony called out. Beacon coming online. Through the tower windows, they could see Zephyrian ships beginning to move in their direction. Their distraction had been discovered. They're coming, Kate said, her fingers flying over the controls. How much more time do you need? 2 more minutes, Amy replied, sweat beading on her forehead. The beacon needs 90% power to reach maximum range. The sound of alien aircraft grew louder. Through her earpiece, Kate heard Ryan's voice. Multiple Zephyrian ships heading your way. You've got maybe 60 seconds before they arrive. 80% power, Tony announced. Come on, come on. Kate finished encoding the message and placed her hand over the transmission button. Everything depended on the next few seconds. 90%, Amy shouted. Kate slammed the button down. The quantum beacon erupted with energy, sending their desperate plea for help racing across space faster than light itself. For a brief moment, Kate's equipment showed a successful transmission. Then Zephyrian weapons struck the tower, and everything went dark. Miles away in deep space, the TDF Sovereign received the quantum burst transmission during its routine monitoring shift. The massive battleship had been testing experimental stealth technology for 6 months, operating under complete communication blackout. Captain Alex Harper was reviewing technical reports when First Officer Diana Price burst into his ready room. "Sir, we just received an emergency transmission," she said, her face pale with shock. "It's from New Haven Colony." Alex read the decoded message twice before the implications sank in. Hostile alien contact, invasion fleet, mental conditioning technology. The nightmare scenario that every military officer had trained for but hoped would never happen. "How long ago was this sent?" he asked. "The quantum beacon timestamp shows it was transmitted 18 hours ago," Diana replied. "But sir, if their information is accurate, the alien main fleet is probably already at New Haven." Alex studied. The tactical data included in the message. 200 enemy warships with advanced shielding technology and weapons that outclassed anything in the human arsenal. "Plot a course for New Haven," he ordered. "Maximum stealth, and get me chief engineer. Walsh." Sam Walsh arrived within minutes, still wiping grease from his hands. "You wanted to see me, Captain?" "The experimental stealth system. How long can we maintain it?" Sam frowned. "In theory, maybe 12 hours at full power. But it's never been tested in combat conditions. One wrong move and we'll light up every sensor for light years around." Alex nodded grimly. The Sovereign was humanity's most advanced warship, but it was designed for fleet actions against known threats. Going up against superior alien technology while running experimental stealth systems was beyond risky. It was potentially suicidal. "Sir," Diana said quietly, "we could return to Earth and warn the fleet. Get reinforcements." Alex considered the option for exactly 3 seconds. "By the time we reach Earth and return with a fleet, New Haven colony will be lost. 50,000 human lives. He stood up and walked to the tactical display. Besides, look at these energy signatures. The aliens are using their advanced technology to enslave humans without firing a shot. If they perfect this technique on New Haven, they could use it against Earth itself. Sam Walsh understood immediately. You want to hit them while they're not expecting resistance. Exactly, Alex confirmed. They think they've won without a fight. They won't be prepared for a military response. Diana pulled up the ship's roster. Sir, we have 2,000 crew members. Even if we achieve complete surprise, the odds are overwhelming. Captain Harper looked at the message from New Haven one more time. He thought about Kate Murphy, risking her life to send this warning. About the colonists fighting impossible odds to preserve their freedom. Prep the ship for battle, he ordered, and send a message to all department heads. We're going to show these aliens what happens when they mess with human beings. The Sovereign changed course, heading for New Haven at maximum speed while running, silent under experimental stealth technology. For the first time in human history, Earth's children were going to war among the stars. The question was whether they would arrive in time to save anything worth fighting for. The TDF Sovereign moved through space like a ghost, its experimental stealth systems bending light and energy around the massive warship. Captain Alex Harper stood on the bridge, watching the tactical display as they approached the New Haven system. Stealth holding steady, reported Chief Engineer Sam Walsh from his position at the engineering station. But we're running the generators at maximum output. Any higher and we risk a cascade failure. First Officer Diana Price studied the long-range sensors. I'm reading multiple contacts in the New Haven system. Lots of them. The main display showed a nightmare scenario. More than 200 alien vessels surrounded the colony world, their formations perfect and precise. The ships ranged from small patrol craft to massive dreadnoughts that dwarfed anything in the human fleet. They're not even trying to hide, observed Commander Nick Foster, the ship's tactical officer. No defensive formations, no patrol routes. They think they've already won. Alex nodded grimly. The Zephyrians' overconfidence might be their only advantage. What do we know about their capabilities? Grace Kim, the weapons officer, brought up the intelligence data from New Haven's transmission. According to the colony's scans, they have advanced energy shields and plasma-based weapons, but their ships appear designed for intimidation rather than combat. Meaning? Alex asked. Their hulls are elegant but not heavily armored, Grace explained. They rely on shields and superior firepower to win battles before they start. They're not built to take punishment. Nick Foster leaned over his tactical board. Captain, I have an idea. It's crazy, but it might work. I'm listening. We use their own psychology against them, Nick explained. These aliens conquer through fear and mental conditioning. They don't expect real resistance. If we hit them hard and fast, we might cause a panic. Alex studied the tactical display. The Zephyrian fleet was spread throughout the system, confident in their superiority. What did you have in mind? We drop stealth right behind their command ship and unleash everything we have, Nick said. Maximum firepower, maximum aggression. Show them that humans don't surrender. Sam Walsh shook his head. Captain, our weapons are designed for ship-to-ship combat against human technology. We don't know how effective they'll be against alien shields. Grace Kim pulled up the Sovereign's weapon specifications. Our rail cannons fire projectiles at 30% the speed of light. Even with advanced shields, that kind of kinetic energy should do some damage. Diana Price highlighted the alien formation. The problem is numbers. Even if we destroy a dozen ships, they still outnumber us 20-1. Alex walked to the front of the bridge, looking out at the stars ahead. Somewhere in this system, 50,000 humans were fighting for their freedom against impossible odds. The weight of command had never felt heavier. Signal from the planet, reported the communications officer. Very faint, heavily encrypted. The message appeared on screen, sent by the few free colonists still resisting on New Haven's surface. It contained crucial intelligence about Zephyrian ground installations and the timing of their final operation. They're going to start the atmospheric conversion in 6 hours, Alex read aloud. After that, the planet will be uninhabitable for humans. The bridge fell silent as everyone absorbed the implications. They had 6 hours to save an entire world, facing overwhelming odds with untested technology. "Orders, sir?" Diana asked quietly. Alex turned back to his crew. These men and women had volunteered for a deep space mission to test experimental stealth systems. None of them had signed up for a suicide mission against alien invaders, but he knew what their answer would be before he asked. "We're going in," he announced. "Full strike configuration. Target their command ship first, then work our way through their formation." Sam Walsh began power transfer procedures. Weapons charging to full capacity, stealth generators at critical levels. Grace Kim armed every weapon system on the ship. Rail cannons loaded and ready. Quantum torpedoes armed. Point defense systems online. Nick Foster coordinated with the ground teams on New Haven. Surface forces are ready to attack Zephyrian installations on our signal. Meanwhile, on New Haven's surface, Security Chief Ryan Clark prepared his small force of free colonists for their desperate mission. They had built improvised electromagnetic pulse devices using medical equipment and mining explosives. "Remember," Ryan told his team, "we need to disable their ground communication systems the moment the Sovereign attacks. If the surface installations can't coordinate with the fleet, we might have a chance." Dr. Amy Rodriguez checked her supplies one last time. She had managed to synthesize enough nanobot countermeasure to treat several hundred people, but it would take time to distribute the cure throughout the colony. Tony Martinez finished his preparations for the attack on Zephyrian power systems. "If we can overload their main generators, it should cascade through their entire network." High above them, the Sovereign moved into attack position. The alien fleet continued their lazy patrol patterns, completely unaware of the human warship, stalking them through the darkness. "Range to target 50,000 kilometers, reported the navigation officer. Alex took his position in the captain's chair. "All departments report ready." "Engineering ready," called Sam Walsh. "Weapons ready," announced Grace Kim. "Tactical ready," confirmed Nick Foster. Alex looked around the bridge one last time. In a few minutes, they would either save New Haven Colony or die trying. There were no other options. "Drop stealth on my mark," he ordered. "All weapons, fire, as soon as we decloak." The Sovereign drifted closer to the massive Zephyrian flagship, a vessel 3 times the size of the human battleship. The alien ship's elegant curves and glowing hull made it look more like a work of art than a weapon of war. 10,000 kilometers, the navigator reported. 5,000 kilometers. 1,000 kilometers. Alex gripped the arms of his chair. "Mark!" The Sovereign dropped out of stealth mode directly behind the Zephyrian flagship. For a split second, the human warship appeared like a metal predator emerging from the darkness. "Fire!" Alex shouted. Every weapon on the Sovereign fired simultaneously. Rail cannon projectiles struck the alien ship's shields at incredible velocity. Quantum torpedoes detonated in brilliant flashes of energy. The beautiful flagship shuddered under the assault, its shields flaring and failing. The second volley tore through the alien hull like paper. The Zephyrian command ship exploded in a cascade of light and debris, its destruction lighting up space for millions of kilometers. "Direct hit!" Grace Kim called out. "Target destroyed!" But the battle was just beginning. All around them, Zephyrian ships began turning toward the unexpected threat. The element of surprise was gone, and now 200 alien warships were converging on the lone human vessel. "Multiple contacts closing fast," Diana reported. "They're angry." Alex smiled grimly. "Good. Angry enemies make mistakes. All hands, prepare for close quarters combat." The Sovereign accelerated toward the nearest group of alien ships, its weapons already charging for the next engagement. The planet below, Ryan Clark's team struck at the Zephyrian ground installations. The real battle for New Haven was about to begin. The space around New Haven erupted into chaos as the Sovereign tore through the Zephyrian formation like a metal hurricane. Captain Alex Harper's aggressive tactics caught the aliens completely off guard. Their elegant ships, designed for intimidation and easy conquest, had never faced an enemy willing to fight to the death. "Target their cruisers," Alex shouted over the noise of combat alarms. "Don't give them time to coordinate." Grace Kim unleashed the full power of human military engineering. The Sovereign's rail cannons fired continuously, sending streams of metal projectiles into alien hulls. Each shot carried the kinetic energy of a nuclear bomb, tearing through shields and armor that had never been tested against determined resistance. 3 more kills confirmed, Grace reported as alien ships exploded around them. "Their shields can't handle our rail cannon velocity." The Zephyrian fleet tried to surround the human warship, but Alex had studied their formations during the approach. He ordered the Sovereign into a rolling attack pattern that kept the ship moving too fast for the aliens to lock weapons on target. "Hard starboard! Accelerate to combat speed!" Alex commanded. The massive battleship pivoted like a fighter craft, its engines roaring at maximum output. Sam Walsh had diverted power from every non-essential system, pushing the ship beyond its design limits. "Hull stress at 90%, Sam called out. "If we keep this up much longer, we're going to shake apart." "Hold together a little longer," Alex replied, watching as more Zephyrian ships closed in. "Nick, what's the status on the surface, Commander?" Foster monitored communications from the planet below. "Ground teams are in position, waiting for your signal." On New Haven's surface, Security Chief Ryan Clark crouched behind cover near the main Zephyrian power facility. His team of 20 volunteers carried improvised weapons and explosive devices built from mining equipment. "Remember," Ryan whispered into his radio, "we hit all the installations simultaneously. No second chances." Dr. Amy Rodriguez waited at the medical center with her nanobot countermeasure, ready to treat the affected colonists the moment the Zephyrian control network went down. Tony Martinez led another team toward the alien communication arrays. High above them, the space battle reached its climax. The Sovereign had destroyed 7 alien ships, but dozens more were closing in from all directions. Plasma beams began, striking the human vessel's shields, causing sparks to fly across the bridge. "Shields down to 60%, Diana Price reported. "We're taking heavy damage." Alex watched the tactical display as the Zephyrian fleet tried to box them in. The aliens were learning to counter human tactics, but they were still thinking like conquerors rather than warriors. "Grace, prepare the special package," Alex ordered. Grace Kim armed the Sovereign's most powerful weapon, an experimental quantum torpedo designed to overload enemy power systems. It had never been tested in combat, and using it would drain their remaining energy reserves. "Torpedo armed and ready," Grace confirmed. "But sir, if this doesn't work, we'll be dead in space." "It'll work," Alex said with more confidence than he felt. "Target their largest ship, the one that's coordinating their attack." The quantum torpedo streaked through space, weaving between alien vessels toward the massive Zephyrian dreadnought. The alien ship's shields flared as they tried to intercept the weapon, but the torpedo's guidance system adjusted its course. When it struck, the explosion was beyond anything the aliens had experienced. The quantum detonation created an electromagnetic pulse that cascaded through the dreadnought systems, overloading every circuit and leaving the massive ship powerless. "Direct hit," Grace shouted. "Their command ship is dead in space." The effect rippled through the Zephyrian fleet. Without their central coordination, the alien ships began firing wildly, sometimes hitting each other in their confusion. "Now," Alex transmitted to the surface teams. Ryan Clark's voice crackled back. "All teams execute." Across New Haven Colony, the human resistance struck simultaneously. Explosive charges detonated at power facilities, communication arrays, and atmospheric processors. The carefully planned attack sent electromagnetic pulses through the Zephyrian ground network. Tony Martinez watched with satisfaction as alien installations went dark one by one. "Power grid is down. Their surface operations are completely offline." At the medical center, Amy Rodriguez began distributing her nanobot countermeasure to the affected colonists. The silver liquid worked quickly, breaking down the alien control devices in human bloodstreams. Bill Tucker was among the first to receive treatment. As the nanobots were neutralized, his eyes cleared and his personality returned. "What happened?" he asked groggily. The last thing I remember was those healing crystals. You've been under alien control, Amy explained quickly. But you're free now. We need your help to save the colony. Throughout New Haven, formerly controlled colonists began waking up from their mental fog. As they realized what had been done, to them their anger grew. These weren't soldiers, but they were farmers, engineers, and builders who knew how to work together. In space, the Sovereign continued its deadly dance through the alien fleet. With their command structure disrupted and their coordination broken, the Zephyrian ships became easier targets. 8 more kills confirmed, Grace reported. They're starting to break formation. But the battle was taking its toll. The Sovereign's shields were failing, and hull breaches were spreading across multiple decks. Sam Walsh worked frantically to keep the engines running, power dropping to critical levels, he warned. We need to finish this soon. Alex saw their chance. The remaining Zephyrian ships were clustering around their damaged command vessel, trying to protect it from further attack. All remaining power to the main batteries, Alex ordered. One final strike. Grace Kim overloaded every weapon system on the ship, drawing power from life support and gravity generators. The Sovereign's hull groaned under the strain, but the weapons charged to maximum capacity. Firing everything, Grace announced. The concentrated barrage struck the crippled Zephyrian dreadnought like the hammer of an angry god. The massive alien ship exploded in a cascade of energy that lit up the entire system. The shockwave from the explosion damaged several nearby Zephyrian vessels and sent others spinning out of control. For the first time since the battle began, the alien fleet hesitated. Sir, Diana reported with amazement, they're pulling back. The remaining ships are retreating. Through the Sovereign's communication system, Alex broadcast a message on all frequencies. This is Captain Alex Harper of the Terran Defense Force. You came to our world expecting sheep. You found wolves. Spread the word to your empire. Humanity does not submit. The surviving Zephyrian ships fled the system at maximum speed, leaving behind their dead and their dreams of easy conquest. High Mediator Velthara, aboard one of the escaping vessels, stared at the tactical display in shock. How is this possible? Velthara demanded. No species has ever resisted our conditioning technology. The humans are different, replied the ship's captain. They fight even when victory seems impossible. On New Haven's surface, the liberated colonists cheered as they watched alien ships disappear into the darkness. The nightmare was over, but they had learned a valuable lesson about the dangers that lurked among the stars. Jake Morrison stood with his fellow survivors, watching the Sovereign limping into orbit. The human warship was badly damaged, but victorious. They had proven that Earth's children could defend themselves against any threat. Signal from the Sovereign, Kate Murphy reported from her restored communication station. Captain Harper wants to speak with you, Governor. Alex Harper's image appeared on the main screen, his uniform torn and his face streaked with smoke. Governor Morrison, are your people safe? Thanks to you and your crew, Jake replied. How can we ever repay you? Alex smiled tiredly. Just spread the word. The galaxy needs to know that humanity stands together. When one of us is threatened, we all respond. As the Sovereign began emergency repairs, messages went out to Earth and every human colony. The first alien invasion had been defeated, but it wouldn't be the last. Humanity needed to prepare for a larger universe filled with both friends and enemies. The colonists of New Haven began rebuilding their world, but this time they built it with defense in mind. They had learned that peace was precious, but freedom was worth fighting for. In the depths of space, other alien species received reports of the Zephyrian defeat. Some planned revenge, but others saw opportunity. If humanity could defeat the Zephyrian collective, perhaps they could also stand against other threats. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had announced its presence not with words of peace, but with the thunder of weapons defending the innocent. They had shown that Earth's children were not victims to be harvested, but warriors to be respected. The stars awaited, full of promise and danger. But humanity was ready.